What I want from a horror movie, and honestly from any great movie, is for it to do exactly what Obsession does. I've never been a fan of jump scares. At this point, they've become pretty overused, and when they're thrown in just for the sake of it, they don't really accomplish much, because they don't stay with the audience. The horror movies that have made me fall more and more in love with this genre over the years are the ones that don't let me go home feeling comfortable. The ones that stay with you for days after the credits roll. The ones that leave you genuinely disturbed. Welcome to Ours, a safe space where we talk about art in all of its forms. Right now, I'm mostly focusing on films and TV series, and I have another series called Art by the Fire that talks about the more traditional forms of art. But in time, we'll start talking about books, theater, and so much more. If that sounds like your kind of thing, then I'd love for you to come along for the journey. Today, we're talking about Obsession, the film by Curry Barker that's got pretty much everyone who's seen it completely obsessed. When I started this channel, I had one very specific goal. I wanted to talk about how incredibly diverse and multifaceted art can be, regardless of its form or style. Obsession genuinely moved me, not because of its story, but because it feels like cinema is finally starting to become what it was always supposed to be. And this small but meaningful revolution wasn't started by the biggest name in the industry. It came from young artists who were tired of watching the same movie over and over again, tired of seeing cinema reduced to a product whose only purpose is making wealthy producers even wealthier, while crew members and emerging artists have to fight to even get paid. And that's exactly why making a film like this and talking about it is so important, maybe even essential, considering how difficult this industry has become. This movie does something that sounds simple, but is actually really incredible. It refuses to spoon feed its audience. It asks us to sit down, put our phones away, and watch. No endless exposition dumps, no characters that exist for the sole purpose of explaining the plot. Obsession trusts its audience. It lets us put the pieces together. And once again, that's exactly how storytelling should always work. There are too many reasons why obsession stays under your skin. The first one is because it's a simple story that never feels the need to explain itself. And the second is because of the incredible physical performances from its two leads. The story itself isn't very complicated. A boy is in love with his best friend, so he makes a wish, hoping she'll fall in love with him too. We're never told whether Nikki already had feelings for Bear. There's simply no way for us to know because Bear never actually makes a move. He never tells her how he feels because he can never find the courage to do it. So instead, he just makes the wish. Not because he can handle rejection, but because he can't even handle the possibility of being rejected. Almost immediately, Nikki becomes completely obsessed with him, to the point where she practically stopped existing whenever Bear isn't around. As the story unfolds, we realize that the wish didn't actually make Nikki fall in love. It's more like she's being possessed by something that won't allow the real Nikki to take control of her own body. She is trapped inside of herself, always conscious, always aware, but completely powerless as she watches this obsession play out through her own body. And it's all happening because of someone who, on the surface, looks like the stereotypical nice guy. She can't say no to what's happening to her, and whenever she manages to briefly regain control of her body, she begs her abuser to stop, even kill her. Bear knows it. People talk about consent a lot these days. Not nearly enough, if you ask me. But it's often treated like it's somehow a controversial issue, when it really isn't. Consent is the core of this entire movie, because obsession, by its very nature, takes away another person's ability to consent. Shortly after Bear makes the wish and Nikki starts acting strangely, Bear's friend is the first person to introduce doubt, not just for the audience, but within the story itself. He's worried that Nikki might be having some kind of mental breakdown, and he's worried because, by the look of it, Bear is taking advantage of it. At first, Bear convinces himself that she's either on drugs or that something is seriously wrong with her. And I've seen people online say that they can kind of empathize with Bear until the phone call or until this friend of his tells him that he's worried. And I don't agree with that. Because the most obvious explanation available to Bear, even before entertaining the possibility that his wish had actually come true, is exactly the one his friends gives him. Nikki is obviously not doing well. Whatever is happening to her, someone who genuinely loves this human being and isn't just obsessed with her should want to help her, not use the situation to live out a personal fantasy. And yet Bear never really does anything. I mean, yes, he worries, he talks to his friends, but he never takes any real action to distance himself from Nikki or help her. The biggest proof of that comes during his call to the hotline. He doesn't ask them to cancel the wish. He just ask them to change it. He wants all the weird behavior to stop because the truth is, he doesn't actually care whether Nikki genuinely loves him. He doesn't care that he's controlling her. His problem is simply that this version of Nikki isn't exactly the one he wanted. It's a double violation. Not only do I get to make you fall in love with me, I also get to decide what that love looks like. What I loved the most about this screenplay is that all of this is never explained to you. If you're not paying attention, you'll miss things. There's no character constantly stopping the story to explain to you what's happening because you're simply expected to watch the movie. And honestly, what a breath of fresh air. It's a simple, straightforward story that never tries to make itself seem more complicated than it actually is to just get people talking. Instead, it tackles a contemporary and incredibly important subject in a completely different way. My favorite actors are usually the ones that have some kind of theater experience. And I think the reason is because they understand one fundamental thing about acting. Your body says more than your words ever could. The way you carry yourself in front of a camera or an audience already tells me something about who your character is. The way you walk, the way you stand, whether your shoulders are straight or hunched over. Every physical choice communicates something that no line of dialogue could ever fully express. And in a movie like this, physicality is absolutely essential. The moment we are introduced to Nikki, the way she interacts with her friends, even the volume of her voice immediately tells us something. She's outgoing, she's open, she's the kind of person who can tease other people while also being able to laugh at herself. She's very cool. She's the kind of girl you naturally want to be around, but she's also very good at creating limits for her own good, like when we see her getting mad at being called Freaky Nikki. All of this changes the moment she becomes the victim of Bear's wish. The way her body is used to build this character is absolutely incredible. Going back to what I said in the beginning of the video, the thing that scares me are not jump scares, but it's seeing a human body move in a way that doesn't feel human. Nikki walks, talks, and looks at the world as if she's constantly on the verge of tearing off her own skin and revealing something monstrous underneath. Everything that once made her feel warm, joyful, and alive is completely destroyed. What's left is a body that feels fragile, like an empty shell that can be used by whatever has taken the real Nikki's place. It's like watching an alien trying to imitate what it means to be human. And the performance is made even stronger by the way this film uses the light, by the way this body is illuminated or swallowed completely by darkness. I've seen a lot of people talk about the physical performance of Nikki, but not enough people talk about Bear. Bear's characterization is just as impressive because we all met someone like him. Someone everybody describes as quiet, sweet, and a genuinely nice guy. The kind of person people instantly want to protect, the kind of person someone like Nikki would want to protect. And I don't know whether it was a deliberate acting choice or not, but Bear is constantly mumbling his words. It's like he's eating his own words. He looks down when he speaks. It takes forever to finish a sentence, and even finishing a single thought seems very difficult for him. He doesn't dominate the screen. If anything, he almost disappears whenever he's standing next to Nikki. And that's exactly why I think his characterization is just as brilliant as hers. It would have been incredibly easy to play Bear like a villain, a stereotypical villain. Loud, aggressive, violent, the typical alpha male that you see. But that's not what he does. Bear is shy. He genuinely believes that he is a good person, someone who can never hurt anybody. Because in his mind, well, he waited before making a move. He asked his friend for advice. He even looked away when Nikki took her shirt off. There are all things that probably remind you of your own bear. And if you never had one, then you're very lucky. The guy that everybody tells you, oh, don't worry, he's harmless. The guy that maybe drives past your house too many times during the day, and when you tell your friends or his friends, they tell you, oh, don't worry, he's nice, he's just shy, or maybe he just likes you a lot. He wouldn't hurt a fly, and yet Bear is evil. From the very first moment, he realizes that Nikki is no longer herself and decides to not help her. That is an evil human being. This movie doesn't present two equally valid interpretations of this story. It just presents one. Bear is the abuser. Everything that happens is his responsibility. Every single thing that happens is the direct result of Bear's inability to be a man.